Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo-Bop-Bop-a-Deep-a-Doo-Bop-Bop. Surrounded by brilliance.
What up, Internet? Surrounded by Brilliance podcast, back for another episode. I'm the host, founder, creator, most handsome podcaster in the world, myself, Josh Will. So the Surrounded by Brilliance podcast was created to bring together like-minded people who don't get offended by much and who are annoyed by most things. Me, and I think my guest. This is a podcast where humor, levity, and some serious discussion will give you a glimpse into the inner working of my brain, a self-proclaimed get off my lawn guy. You'll hear some funny stories, some really stupid concepts, and a whole lot more from some really interesting people and some not so interesting people, which is a great transition to our next guest, who is Collin Will. Collin, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you for asking. So, Collin, I'm gonna tell the people what C-Dub is all about, and then we'll just chat it up. So Collin, in his own words, is a laid-back guy who loves hunting, being outdoors, being active, working out, and building things / DIY. He grew up in small-town Ohio near Delphus. Collin graduated from the University of Toledo with a bachelor's in mechanical, industrial, and manufacturing engineering. If I were to venture a guess, it appears that Collin is actually in the midst of a do-it-yourself project right now. So, Collin, how are things going, man? What's up with you? Anything exciting going on in your life?
Things are going good. Just bought a fixer-upper, actually, so in the process of fixing that all up, there's a lot to do. Probably more than I originally thought, but I like doing stuff myself. I like working on things, so that's all right with me. I'll make it how I want.
So if you're listening at home and not watching this on YouTube, yes, Collin does have a quasi creeper stash, and yes, he is in the basement of his newly purchased fixer-upper, but he's fixing it up right now the way he wants it. So I know Collin. He is not a murderer. He's not creepy. It's just the setting he's in right now. If you're watching, he's a good dude. So, which is a great transition because we kid here, right? I mean, obviously you graduated from college and you're fixing this house yourself. So, you're a good guy. So how do we know each other, Collin?
So, Josh is actually my cousin, one of my older cousins on my dad's side.
That's
So,
right.
We've
Great.
kind of known each other my whole life.
You have known me your whole life.
Literally my whole life.
That's how we know each other. It's the name. So, why did you agree to be on this podcast?
Well, you reached out. I had never been on a podcast before, and I figured it'd probably be pretty fun. And if you've got one going, I mean, I'm always willing to help out. So.
Well, yeah, just because I have a podcast going doesn't mean that it's like it's just fun, right? Like, I'm having a lot of fun doing this. I'm having family, friends. Sounds like I'm going to have some random people I've never met on. So we're going to see how that goes. But I think I was telling you offline, I consider this podcast to be kind of the, most people will listen to a podcast to learn something or educate themselves on a topic, or because they specifically like the person with the podcast. This podcast is none of those things. You're not going to learn anything here. People out there probably don't like me or want to know about me, so they're not going to watch because of me. And there's nothing educational here. But what this podcast is, it's a nice break from all those. Because eventually you just get sick and tired of trying to learn and listen to all those. So that's my take on it. And if people don't agree, I don't really give a fuck because it's my podcast. I can do what I want, say what I want. Just don't listen. Anyways, that's my diatribe. So what do when you hear the phrase "get off my lawn," what does that mean to you?
To me, kind of just means probably somebody older, maybe, but they're kind of stuck in their ways. Things change and they don't like change, and they just kind of want it to be how it was in the old days.
Well,
Kind of something like that.
Colin, how old are you? Since you're as you're answering that question, how old are you?
I'm 25.
25. So yeah, you there's a lot of get off my lawn esque type things that are probably, well, I know so, that are actually geared towards your generation. So so the fact that you, someone who is the recipient of so many, you're not you specifically, but your generation is the recipient of so many get off my lawn type moments that you're on this podcast. We're breaking barriers today. Like you're because you're going to be asked here in a few minutes to talk about some get off my lawn stuff. So it's a and if you know Colin, I'm not going to say too much, but if you know Colin's dad,
I was just going to say, I'm kind of that way a little bit just because you know who my dad is. Now I was raised, so I've got
yeah.
a little bit of that myself. But
Okay. Well, hey, there's nothing wrong with having some get off my lawn in you because everyone should. Because get off my lawn guys or gals, typically they're right. They might be set in their ways, but I think, well, yeah, they're right. So, all right, Colin, we're going to transition to our what I like to call our surrounded by brilliance, get off my lawn segment. So, great transition, right? So, for years, I've kind of been compiling this list of just things that piss me off, annoy me, frustrate me. In your terms, things that I don't like because I'm set in my ways, but I disagree with some of the verbiage you use there. But I'm not here to bash my guests because I want people to maybe come back. But I've been compiling this list of these things that frustrate me. And Tony, she'll tell me, Josh, you're like a 44-year-old man with an 80-year-old mindset, and it brings a tear to my eye because I think that's one of the ultimate compliments. So that's kind of where this segment has derived, and what we like to do is talk about those moments because everybody has them. Even though you're 25, I guarantee there's some things that you're like, hey, I don't like it when people do that. People are stupid, or whoever does this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to let you share what your get off my lawn moment is, and we're going to talk about it. So stage is yours, my friend.
yeah, so my get off my lawn kind of thing actually has to do with sports and specifically like the NFL. So I'm a big NFL fan, big Bengals fan. But what I can't stand is how much they baby like the soft rules and baby the guys, especially the quarterbacks. Defensive end comes around the line, beats his block, smokes the quarterback. Good play. Oh, nope, 15-yard penalty now. And it's like, just get a free 15 yards. And it's like, I don't want to watch that. I want to see big hits. I want to see people getting blown up. If my defensive end sacks the quarterback and makes a good play on third down and we're about to get off the field and get the ball back, I don't want some like little baby 15-yard flag coming out because he landed on top of the guy or
All
because
right.
he hit him too hard or something like that. I want to watch football.
Yeah, you and I both know that it's all about money, right? So we got to
Yeah.
protect our investment. So I agree with what you're saying. I actually I don't even necessarily know if that's a get off my lawn thing. I think that's just a football fan thing. What translates to get off my lawn at times because at the end of the day, these guys are getting paid millions of dollars and you're an old school guy. I mean, you want old school football. You want concussions, you want broken bones.
Yeah.
You
I
yeah,
mean,
you I mean, I like it.
the
So,
way I see it is, I get the whole like injury concussion thing, but they signed up to do that job. Like they know what they're getting into, and they're getting paid millions upon millions of dollars, especially the quarterbacks. And it's like, you signed up for this. You knew very well what was going to happen.
You know what though? I'm going to do something that I have yet to do on this podcast. I won't call it an argue against your point, but I'm going to bring up some words of wisdom. So, and this is new because I've never done this in this segment, but I am 20 years older than you. I played football in college. I played football in high school. I played other sports, but obviously football is a high impact sport. I will tell you that there are times that I'm concerned about my memory a little bit. So what I will say is this. I understand why they're trying to protect these guys. It's about their investment, but also it's about their health because when I say I'm concerned about my memory, it's because I'm still trying to differentiate. Is it just because I'm in my 40s and some things get a little more forgetful, which it probably is, but I guess I understand it more now. But if I was a 25-year-old and have the balls by the world by the balls like you do, I'd probably just be like, I want bones, broken bones. I want skin. I want blood. So I agree with you, but there is another side to this. So because this isn't just about complaining, right? I like this podcast. We like to come full circle. How could you make your frustration or your get off my lawn moment with the NFL or that situation, how could you turn that into a positive somehow? Or how could you spin it into a positive?
I mean, like you said, it is a positive just for like the health of the guys and, less injuries, your stars are on the field more. I get that. And especially the rules kind of do help me out a little bit just because I cheer for the Bengals. And Joe Burrow has been hurt a lot, so it does kind of help my fandom out. But, I just want hard-nosed football a lot of times too.
No, I can appreciate you. Look, I'm a Bengals fan too. You know this. Houday. I've been a Bengals fan now for 38 years. And look, to be a Bengals fan that long, that's loyalty. I mean but you make a great point. When you are Joe Burrow and you can count on getting sacked probably 3 times a game at minimum, you want to be somewhat protected. So great point, valid point. Love the positive spin on it because really we don't want who is our backup? Who's the guy that's
Jake Browning.
Yeah, hey, not a bad guy, but we want Burrow in there, not Jake Browning, because if we have any chance at making it to the playoffs and competing for an AFC championship, Joe Burrow needs to be healthy, Jamar Chase needs to be healthy, T. Higgins needs to be healthy, and we have to score 80 points a game because our defense is going to give up 79. So,
and I guess too, maybe this could help lengthen Burrow's career, these rules. So instead of having him for maybe, 7 to 8 years, maybe we could keep him 10 to 12.
It could, but now you're being way too positive because we got to suck as much out of Burrow in 3 to 4 years because the Bengals eventually are going to cut more corners. Guys are going to leave. They're going to get hurt. They don't want to pay anybody. So we need Burrow next 2 or 3 years to just take us to the promised land, Joey B. If you're watching this podcast, because it's probably going to go viral, take us to the promised land, Joe.
I want one in my lifetime. That's all I need. At least one.
I've watched 2 Bengals Super Bowls, and if Tony were here right now, she would attest to. I normally don't get frustrated. Like if the Buckeyes lose or play bad, I'll be annoyed for a little bit, and then I move on. The night they lost the Super Bowl, I may have, let's just say the next day I had to apologize to Tony because my attitude wasn't the best. But I explained to her, I said, look, what was I? I was 42 at the time. I'm like, I'm 42 years old. I don't know if I'll ever see this again, like ever. So great example. So my example is complete opposite of the NFL, but you actually were probably a recipient of this at one point. My get off my lawn moment would be when grade school, elementary, middle school, high school. So when schools are canceled because it's too hot or it's too cold, suck it up, people. I don't care. You know what? When I was your age, I went to school when it was hot, when it was cold, when it was icy. We had the occasional fog delay, but suck it up. And sometimes they're being canceled based on a forecast. There's not even actual snow on the ground, but it's like, there's a chance of snow, we're going to cancel school. And then on the other side of that, the hot part, you know, you and I both went to the same high school, same grade school, everything. There was no AC there. I don't know if I think some rooms might have AC now, but I think a majority of it does not. We went to a Catholic school, so we had to wear shirts and ties. And I don't know if it was the same for you, but when I was in high school, if it was a really hot day, August, beginning of September, principal would come over the PA and would say, "Gentlemen and ladies, because it's so hot, gentlemen, you can unbutton your top button and loosen your tie." I can't remember what the girls got to do, but that was our air conditioner. So suck it the fuck up. Like, this is why we live in a soft world with soft kids who get overwhelmed by everything, because the hardest thing that's ever the worst thing that's ever happened to them is the worst thing that's ever happened to them. So if the worst thing that's ever happened to kids is they had to go to school when it was hot, boy oh boy, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you when you get in the real world. So, wow, that is really a get off my lawn moment. But now, how would I make this a positive? Sheesh. Well, school being canceled because it's too hot or too cold, and I don't know how you make that positive. The only way I would say this turns into a positive is that eventually weak and soft, I don't know. Can you help me out here? You got any ideas how
Yeah. I don't know. See, I mean, then maybe they're just not used to it, and the people who are willing to put up with the stuff, they can, get ahead farther than the other people and get a step up on everybody else.
You're way
They're
too
willing to put up with the hot and the cold.
You're way too
Because like for me, if we were canceled, I wasn't just sitting in the house. I was put to work by my dad.
Well, you bring up a great point, right? I mean, so now let's take this one step further. School gets canceled because it's too cold. We'll say too cold. Yeah, when I was growing up, well, actually, if we would still have we'd still have basketball practice typically, yeah. Right? But you were outside in the snow, you were shoveling snow, or maybe you were hanging out with buddies and playing in the snow. Or in your case, your dad is putting you to work. So, but now kids' school is canceled. They just sleep another 6 fucking hours. So,
yep.
Yeah. So you know what? The positive in this would be, what it's doing is it's helping me I'm able to identify the softer generation, and I'm not concerned about them. So I'm not concerned about them taking over. I'm not even sure how that'll play out, and I don't even know if that's a positive. Anyways, that's our Get Off My Lawn segment. Some good conversation there from Collin the Stache Will. People are going to
I gotta try growing it out now. We don't. My family doesn't grow very good facial hair, so I gotta try and start now.
We don't. Collin, you can start right now. That thing's not getting any thicker. Trust me.
No, it'll probably be 35 before.
Well, actually, you know who grows a solid stash is my dad.
Yeah.
He does. So
he had the fro too.
He did. Oh, he did. He used to have the fro. Used to have the perm. So, all right. Good segment. We're going to transition to the next segment, which is rapid fire questions. Some of them are rapid fire. Some of them aren't. and I got a couple bangers in here. So this is, I think this might be the moneymaker for this podcast, this episode. All right, first question. If you this might be a little hard for you, but I ask everyone this question. So if we could rewind to when you were 20, so a full 5 years ago, and I told you you're 20 years old, Collin, you have two choices. You either give up your looks or you give up your sense of humor for the rest of your life. Which one are you going to choose at that point, and why?
I'd give up my looks and keep the
Okay,
sense
well,
of humor.
why? But why?
Because, in my opinion, if you take decent care of yourself, you're at least going to look decent and like presentable and good. But you can't make up for a lack of a sense of humor. Because sometimes, if you're just putting down everybody's jokes and everything like that, you're not going to be a good hang, and nobody's going to want to really hang out with you.
That's true.
But, you can go to the gym, you can, get a different hairstyle, stuff like that, and kind of help out your looks a little bit.
Collin, I'm going to start calling you Mr. Practicality here. Like you're using common sense and being practical. The correct response would be, I'm a fucking Will, and even on my worst day, I'm better looking than everyone else. Boom.
Yeah.
All right, good answer. To date, no one has picked looks over sense of humor. So, and I always say this, your looks are going to go anyways. Sense of humor, you can hang on to that typically to the bitter end. So well played, good choice. Here's another one for you. What's one thing 25-year-old Collin would tell his 18-year-old self? We're going to get deep for a second.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I've been catching people off guard with this one.
Yeah.
We're talking 7 years here, though. So,
yeah. I mean, I guess, well, take everything you own and put it into Bitcoin because that thing shot up like crazy.
Great answer. Oh my God. Great answer.
When I was 18, it was probably, I don't know, I don't even know what it was, but it was probably like low thousands or like 10,000 or something like that. And now it's like 100,000.
7 years ago. Yeah. It was definitely triple. It was definitely triple digits. Or four. It was definitely 4 digits at least. But great answer. That's a great answer.
And I could have retired already.
I love that answer. Awesome. All right. What's a fun fact about you that people listening to this podcast or people may not know?
I actually know how to play guitar.
You do? Hell,
yeah,
I didn't even
a little
know that.
bit. Yeah. So when COVID happened, I was co-oping, and I didn't know if I was going to still be working or not. So I bought a guitar and was like, well, if I don't have a job, I might as well learn something. So.
Well, I might have to have you back on here to do some riffs. For the last 5 years, I've been saying I'm going to learn to play the guitar, but I still haven't. I literally have, I have one, and I still haven't. I riff on it, but it doesn't sound like anything. So, but I didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah, I just know like chords. Like I can't play like notes and like freestyle or anything like that, but I like country music, so just learning chords works for that. So.
Well, you've heard the end. You've heard the song to this podcast, right?
Yeah.
That's got some country twang to it.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. One thing that's a great thing you brought up, but I thought one thing that you might bring up was that you were actually on the University of Toledo's women's basketball practice squad.
Yeah, I was actually.
You were
that was pretty fun.
balling it up against the ladies.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one for you. So this is one I can relate. I can relate to. I'm assuming you got this, but I've never asked you this question. So when you're growing up, going through middle school, and high school, were you referred to as another Will boy or one of those Will boys?
Not as much. It was kind of rare,
Oh,
but
it's
it
because your
was,
age.
yeah, I think some of the teachers probably weren't didn't really know about, I guess, like calling them the Will Boys or anything like that. So I didn't really get that as much, but I had like 20 nicknames. I was just called anything with Will. They just throw it in there, and I just have to answer.
Well, that question is more of an ode to your dad and our uncle, the twins, because I got it a lot in high school, but that's probably because there's only a 16-year difference between, I think so, in your dad between them, and we'll just say that they had their share of fun. So I got that a lot. Like I got another Will boy, or hey, do you know Mike and Pat? I'm like, yeah, they're my uncles. Oh, jeez.
Did you get
So
that from, were the Heismans?
the Heisman's definitely.
Yeah. I say I more so got that from like other people around town rather than
I
people in
would
school.
no, I would too. They'd be like Will, and then they instantly think of your dad and his brother, our uncle. So, which is a great segue into one of the last questions I have for you, and I want you to really give some thought to this. And if you don't feel comfortable answering it, you don't have to. But I think it's a banger.
Okay.
Who would win in a boxing match, Uncle Pat or your dad?
I gotta go with my dad there.
Oh, good answer. Good
I
answer.
gotta go with my dad.
That's good. You should. I mean, I knew you were gonna pick your dad, but they go at it sometimes. But I really would love to see them put some boxing gloves on. We'll let them wear headgear because you know they both have they've probably both have enough brain damage
Oh, I'm
self
sure.
inflicted. But just let them go at it. I mean, they'd be tired after 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I know, but
We could try and set that up.
no, it won't happen because you know what happened is they would just sit there and talk shit to each other for 4 hours. Be like, oh, I would kick your ass. Be like, we've got the ring, we've got the gloves, got the headgear. Let's do it. No, I don't need to do it. They would just talk about it instead of being about it. So
Yeah, they'd call each other names when they are literal twins.
they are twins. They're good guys. They mean well. So.
Yep.
All right, look, man. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about? That's all I've got.
Not
Anything
really.
fun or exciting you wanted to talk about? That
I guess this past year I got a turkey hunt.
you did.
Yeah.
Okay, did
So
you get it down south?
yeah.
Did
Yep.
you?
Actually, like right off the backside of camp. Like it was crazy.
I've never been down there, so but have you ate it already, or is it in the freezer?
No, it's in the freezer. Yeah, I'm gonna wait. I've still got like pheasant and rabbit and stuff from when we go out in the freezer, and I'm just gonna bring it all over when I move, and then I'll have
Nice.
some starting stuff.
Nice. All right. Well, look, Colin, this episode's going to shut the internet down. And I always give my guests the opportunity because sometimes guests come on here and they want to plug themselves. They might have a business or something they want to share. Is there anything that, do you want people to know more about you and to be able to find you, or do you not want anybody to find you on here?
I mean, not really, just because like on social media, if I don't really know you, like I'm not gonna let you follow me or anything. So even if I would give it out, I'd get a follow request from somebody I don't know, and I'd be like, oh yeah, no, and I'd just delete it.
I respect that, man. I respect that. And look, you know what else I respect? That fucking pencil hanging out of your hat because you're just do it yourself.
It's hanging drywall.
Well, yeah, and you got your little sister upstairs working, so I'll let
Yep.
you get back to it. I appreciate you taking the time to come on the podcast. I assume by now, if you were nervous at all, I don't think you were, that you're like, okay, this is literally just shooting the shit, having fun. And that's the whole point of the podcast. So thanks for taking the time. I will tell you, it's been suggested that I invite your dad on this podcast, but I
Figured.
would have to edit a tremendous amount. So I,
Yeah.
I don't know. And he'd probably be like, "What podcast?" Grr, 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 grr." So,
That's probably exactly what he'd say.
but we love him. See, we love him. That's
100%.
why we make fun of him. So, thanks for coming on the podcast, man. I think I'll see you in August at the annual party. So,
Yep.
no, I'll see you in July.
Yeah, July.
Are you bringing your lady?
No, she can't go.
I heard Emma's
she's
bringing her.
she just graduated
No
occupational
vacation.
therapy, and she's going to get a job and doesn't know how much time she'll have. And she has like a couple trips planned already.
All right. Well, we need to try to get to a Bengals game this year. We invited you last year, but you didn't come, and you should have because it was a banger. It was it was the December 19th game. But anyways, thanks for taking the time. I'll see you in about a month or so, and take it easy, man.
Yeah, take it easy. Thanks for having me.
No problem. Thanks everyone for listening. Bye.
Get off my lawn. Don't turn around in my driveway. And don't drive slow if you're in the left lane. Scooby-Doo bop bop a deep a doop bop bop.